In my other video, I claimed I was looking forward to losing my virginity to a forward slutty hot girl. I meant to say a forward slutty silicone sex doll. I could do a lot of kinky things. I could take a crap. Maybe you'll get tired of screwing her in her plastic lump and want to move to her ear canals. But if you decide to have babies with sex doll, you don't have to worry about it starving or being killed. If you don't have a poo fetish, then you won't have to worry about her pooing and farting all the time.
Early on, when I first started YouTube, I did a video on a man named Leighton Allen LeBoot living in Kelowna who goes by the online alias Dollyflesh. It began as a joke and me criticizing his idiocy, but has since become my most popular video. Since then, I decided to do more research on him, and thanks to your comments, an update video on Dollyflesh is possible. For a recap, my original video was a reaction to Leighton's thoughts on losing his virginity to a sex doll. His video has been removed on YouTube, and the 21-year-old's presence online is quite minuscule these days. Another infamous video of Leighton surfaced online depicting him brutally torturing and killing hamsters. Nearly 2 years ago, Leighton pleaded guilty to these awful actions, and the video was quickly removed for obvious reasons. What Leighton did was horrific and inexcusable. We can be so quick to react harshly when we hear these types of stories. Any sane person would agree that torturing animals and killing them for your entertainment is an act of the insane. I'm not here to create sympathy for Leighton. I'm here to provide a greater level of context to Leighton's actions and answer the question: what events caused Leighton to be the way he is? By the end of this video, I'm hoping Leighton can be better understood. Again, I'm not doing this to provide sympathy for Leighton. In fact, you should be disgusted by him. What I'm hoping for is to hypothesize an exigence as to why Leighton's actions were committed. Welcome to the minds of Dollyflesh. Looking through different articles about Leighton, something stood out. An article about him on Global News said this: on Wednesday, Provincial Court Judge Paul Dome told the court that despite the horrific acts committed, he is a low risk to reoffend. LeBoot, he said, is severely autistic and has a very low IQ. This provides some context, but doesn't quite explain how Leighton turned out the way he did. Being autistic doesn't make anyone more susceptible to harming animals. In fact, the very opposite effect tends to happen in those with autism spectrum disorder. According to a +1 research study, the presence of animals actually help increase positive social behavior in those with autism. And to make this even more comparable, the study was conducted with the use of 2 guinea pigs. 2 rodents. Sound familiar? So if that's not a valid backing for why Leighton did what he did, then we're left with his apparently low IQ. A long-term study conducted by Harvard showed that there is in fact a correlation between low cognitive function and mental disorders. One section stated, educators and pediatricians should be aware that children with lower cognitive ability may be at greater risk of developing psychiatric disorders. Early detection and intervention aimed at ameliorating mental health problems in these children may prevent these problems from carrying over into adulthood. Although the study depicted a correlation between a low IQ and psychiatric disorders, that doesn't necessarily explain Leighton's actions. It just shows that he may have developed some sort of mental disability due to the lack of cognitive skills. The mental issues stated to have a correlation with low IQ have little to no evidence of having a correlation to violence against animals. Perhaps Leighton's parents played a role in shaping who he became. Well, Global News said this about Leighton's relationship with his parents. He is an only child, but his parents are fully engaged in his care. He lives with them and spends almost all his time at the family home, Dome said. He does not have any friends or any real employment history. So his parents happen to be very caring for him. So that can't be the issue. Perhaps his parents played some role in delaying his maturity, but there is very little evidence to suggest that. Not much is publicly known about Leighton's parents. What is evident is that Leighton hasn't been mentally well for a long time. His Instagram account, Dollyflesh, is disturbing to say the least. If you aren't comfortable with gore or objectifying and gross depictions of women and animals, I advise you skip to the time frame on screen. Before Leighton was talking about his desire to fornicate with a forward slutty silicone sex doll, and even before his arrest, he made grotesque clay creations which can only be described as the work of someone with an obsessive and filthy mind. His work often showed a clay depiction of himself possessing different weapons, slashed up and mutilated animals, and women being raped and sexually exploited. So, I guess the question is, why? Was Leighton just born to become a menace, or was he molded this way, shaped by those around him like the clay models he creates? Well, we're left with Leighton's greatest issues, and the most likely cause of his actions. According to Global News, Leighton was severely bullied and extremely lonely. Many of your comments suggested Leighton needed to be bullied, but I'd argue that that's the cause, not the solution. Leighton's actions stem from the malice of other people. This isn't an excuse for his actions. This is just how Leighton responded to feeling like an outcast. Since Leighton had no friends, he was lonely, left with his own thoughts to marinate inside his brain, left to pollute his ability to reason properly, left to drown in the brackish emptiness just off the coast of society. Perhaps Leighton's story should serve as a cautionary tale. Bullies are the blacksmiths of the wicked. When we spread hatred, evil follows. Leighton was kicked into wet concrete, and nobody was there to pull him out as it hardened. Leighton still deserves the blame he's getting, as his downfall was completely dependent on his response. However, we should acknowledge what turned Leighton into Dollyflesh. If we turn a blind eye to causation, we are doomed to create repetition. For better or for worse, we can all learn something from Leighton's story. Spread kindness, even to those you may not like or care for. If you're brave, stick up for those being bullied. This is not only to avoid the creation of another Dollyflesh, but rather to make society a more peaceful and more engaging place. People like Leighton exist everywhere. His story is not the first of its kind, and it certainly won't be the last. Thank you guys for watching, and if you made it this far, I appreciate it. A lot of work went into making this video. I had to write a script, which took hours, and researching also took hours on itself. I do appreciate you guys sticking around and watching this one. I know it's a little different from my other videos, but if you guys enjoyed this, I'd be more than happy to do another video like this again. Also, I'm raising money to help combat world hunger. If you would like to donate, it's the first link in the description. 10% of people globally go hungry every day, and donating even just $1 helps contribute to feeding somebody in developing countries. Every cent counts. $40 will help feed a person for a whole month. So if it's something you're interested in, feel free to donate. You don't have to, obviously, no obligation, but if you feel like it's a cause you want to contribute to, go ahead and donate. It would mean a lot.